Alright everybody, welcome into another ranking video, this time for Outkast. We're finally getting to this one, and I'll be saying that to the end of time. I'll be doing Led Zeppelin in a year and going, finally getting to this one, guys. So, 6 studio albums here, nice and quaint. I think I said it in the other video, and I said it in a non-Outkast video, but I said it, these guys had the best 4-album run in hip-hop, in my opinion. There's definitely tons of groups and artists that were close, but yeah. In addition to being maybe my favorite musical duo ever, though you gotta put Simon and Garfunkel up there too. So anyway, so number 6, getting right to it, is Idlewild, which this is the weird holographic cover. And I gotta admit, I've never seen the film that this is from. I'm kind of curious though, and I saw it on Blu-ray for less than $10, and I thought, maybe it's worth it. You know, I didn't hear it was really, like, great when it came out, but maybe it's not too bad. This, of course, is their very last LP together, and Speakerbox The Love Below was, that's kind of hypnotizing. That was, you know, definitely a fragmented affair, you know. Outkast was still together, you know, Big Boy addresses it in the lyrics there and here. Outkast is everlasting, like he says on The Way You Move, but it really didn't seem like that, and this is even more fragmented somehow, because on Speakerbox they each got their own side, or their own CD, and then, but each one would guest on the other one's side of the album. This seems even more like split. They're definitely both doing their own thing. There were about 4 singles from it. I don't remember any of them being all that huge, especially considering Speakerbox The Love Below was certified diamond, so 10 million copies sold, though it's a double album, so that's technically 5 million people had the album. But that's just physical. Like, think of how many people probably pirated it or got it by other means. But anyway, Idlewild, I mean, I'm not talking about the music that much. It's not as memorable as any of the other 5, obviously. I don't think anyone would argue that it's, you know, better than any of the other ones. If you like it more than, like, Speakerbox, I could see it. And, you know, if you do like it more than the others, let me know, right? The only track I really, really love from this one is Morris Brown, and it's such a weird song, it almost shouldn't work. It's like so many different influences together, and Sleepy Brown's doing his thing, Scar. They guest on a couple of them on this record, couple tracks. Snoop Dogg's on here, Lil Wayne. Kind of forgettable, to be honest with you, though. But Morris Brown's a cool song. So Speakerbox The Love Below is my number 5. This is a lot of people's favorite. This is definitely the biggest selling one. It had Hey Ya on it, which was a really fun track the year it came out. By the time I graduated, I was so sick of it. It was so overplayed, and still kind of is. I can see why people hate it. You know, I liked it when it came out. I got really sick of it. I'm kind of thinking it's decent now. And that's true for a lot of tracks on here. I don't like Roses like most fans seem to like it. I don't really think it's funny or clever. The Way You Move is a good single, but it's just good. It's not great, and I felt like everything prior to this record was just great. You know, great singles, classic albums, and yeah, I'm not as big on Speakerbox as most of the population. Now we're getting into the classic era, though. Stankonia. This is the first Outkast I ever heard. Of course, B.O.B. was the first song I heard. It was the first single. It had a crazy colorful video, and even someone that's not too into music videos like me, I thought it was really cool. Miss Jackson, of course, came out and was a big smash success, big crossover success, and So Fresh, So Clean. Toilet Tissue's cool. Humble Mumble with Erykah Badu, back when she was married to Andre. We Love These Hoes is kind of fun, but hasn't aged that well. I remember my cousin and I singing that in the car. We loved that one back in the day. When our parents were driving. We were pre-teens or whatever. Gasoline Dreams, of course. That one's great. The first time I ever heard Killer Mike was on Snappin' and Trappin'. That's probably a highlight for me too. And look at the career he went on to do. And you know, definitely the humor's still there. I'll Call Before I Come, and Red Velvet. That sounds pretty tasty. And then the debut's going to be number 3, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. I thought that I would screw that up because I've been having a lot of trouble talking, and whenever I do videos, I always have trouble, you know, getting my thoughts across. But yeah, anyway, this one is probably not as consistent as the two that I'm about to mention, but you know, it really proved that the South had something to say. You know, hip-hop didn't have to just be East Coast, West Coast. Like, that's all that anyone cared about in the early 90s. And then these guys came and said, you know, how about the South? And then, you know, this won an award. And, you know, by the end of the 90s and start of the 2000s, we had, you know, Chingy and Ludacris and all these guys, for better or for worse. But, you know, culturally, it was a big thing. It was a big phenomenon. And this really, you know, put them on the map, put ATL on the map, and Outkast and the South and everything. Organized Noise, of course, this was their first production with Outkast. They'd work with them later. Sleepy Brown came from there. The title track is an absolute classic. Ain't No Thing is really cool. Players Ball's a jam. Hootie Hoo's a lot of fun. Get Up, Get Out, which is surprisingly long for a single. It was probably edited on the radio. I'm too young, I never heard it on the radio, so Crumblin' Herb, brother. And then I was really struggling to rank these top 2, but I'm going to put Aquemini at number 2. Of course, it's got the artist of storytelling on it, which is different than the video version. I like the video one a lot. Of course, it's missing the feature on it, so Return of the G's on here. That one's really great. I have the original album Classics, and they list everything as side A, B, C, so it's just lazy. It's taken from the vinyl, and they just shrunk it down. You can't even read it. Yeah, the title track, Aquemini, Rosa Parks, is a classic single, one of the best singles of the 90s, in my opinion. Art of Storytelling Part 2. Part 1, of course, I mentioned. Classic production. Definitely got a little more jazzy than the one prior. I had too much coffee today. I'm like borderline shaking. Yeah, it was a last minute decision to put this at 2 and this at 1, but yeah, I gotta say, this is probably my favorite. ATLians. Most people know this is one of the best hip-hop records of the 90s, or of all time. Of course, you know, just going on the title track alone, which is absolute incredible. You know, such a catchy chorus. Those beats on here are crazy good. Of course, Big Boy himself and Andre had a lot to do with the production by this point in the duo's career. Two Dope Boys in a Cadillac is amazing. Wheels of Steel. The fact that none of these except Elevators, Me and You, is on the greatest hits was an absolute travesty. Like, this should have had like 3 showings at least. It really should have had 5. Mainstream, that one's great. That one kind of tears up my heart a little bit. It's really good, and the features on here are all quite memorable, which was always a problem in hip-hop. I would listen to someone's record, like, people are going to hate me for this, but Tupac, and then all the features I find are so lame and not as great as the main feature, but these are all memorable features that, you know, aren't as good as Big Boy and Dre, but, you know, they definitely rival them and hold their own and bring their own flavor. Anyway, great album. Absolute classic. Like I said, those first 4 is probably my favorite run in hip-hop right there. So, there you go. So, definitely rank your favorite Outkast, and it's easy. It's only 6, so it's easier than a lot of these discographies I do. We'll catch you in another video coming soon. Peace out, everybody.